Hare Krishna all. Welcome to Sugopika Japa session and short Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, verse number 18. Share my screen. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. एवं च तस्मिन् नरदेवदेवे प्रायोपविष्टे दिव दिवि देवसङ्गा प्रस्यास्य भौमा व्याकीर्ण प्रसूनैर्मुधामुधैर्दुन्दुभस्य च निदोह. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.J. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Word to word meaning, evam, thus, cha, and tasmin, in that Nara Deva, Deve, upon the king's praya upavisthe, being engaged in fasting to death. Divi, in the sky, Deva, demigods, Sangaha, all of them, pra, pras, having praised the action, Bhumau, on the earth, Vaikirna scattered, Prasuniha with flowers, Mudha in pleasure, Muha continually, Dundubhaya celestial drums, Cha also, Nedu beaten. Translation. Thus, the king Maharaj Parikshit sat to fast until death. All the demigods of the higher planets praised the king's action and, in pleasure, continually scattered flowers over the earth and beat celestial drums. Purport. Even up to the time of Maharaj Parikshit, there were interplanetary communication, and the news of Maharaj Parikshit's fasting unto death to attain salvation reached the higher planets in the sky where the intelligent demigods live. The demigods are more luxurious than human beings, but all of them are obedient to the orders of the Supreme Lord. There is no one in heavenly planets who is an atheist or non-believer. Thus, any devotee of the Lord on the surface of the earth is always praised by them. And in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, they were greatly delighted and thus gave tokens of honor by scattering flowers over earth and by beating celestial drums. A demigod takes pleasure in seeing someone go back to Godhead. He is always pleased with a devotee of the Lord so much so that his adiabatic powers he may help the devotees in all respects, and by their action the Lord is pleased with them. There is an invisible chain of complete cooperation between the Lord, the demigods, and the devotee of the Lord on earth. So before I begin, I would like to offer prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता श्रीराधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ते श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, in today's verse, today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.19.18. So, I'll just read out the translation again. Thus, the king Maharaj Parikshit sat to fast until death. All the demigods of higher planets praised the king's action and in pleasure continually scattered flowers over the earth and beat celestial drums. So, in the previous verses, we have discussed as to how Maharaj Parikshit was cursed and by Shringi, and later he realized that what he had done was wrong, and he went to Shukadev Goswami and he sought for their guidance as to what can be done because he has only 7 days left. So, as per the curse, the Parikshit Maharaj will die within 7 days when Takshaka comes and bites him. Right? So, in today's verse, we will see as to what Parikshit Maharaj did. He sat to fast until death. So, what should we do when we fast? So that is what we will be seeing. That is the first point we'll be discussing. So how do we observe fast, and how did Maharaj Parikshit do it? How is Maharaj Parikshit observed fasting? And secondly, we will see as to how what is the position of demigods and how demigods help devotees in returning back home, back to Godhead. So, firstly, if we see in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has written that up to the time of Parikshit Maharaj, there were interplanetary communications. So, we now we can see as to how a small thing, it goes viral worldwide. So we are telling that we are, there is modern civilization. We have advanced and we have developed so much that within seconds, every a small thing can go viral worldwide. But here we can see back then, when it was, around Dwapara Yuga, it was Treta Yuga. So back then, we can see as to how Maharaj Parikshit, he sat to fast, and there were interplanetary communication. So it is not just within the same planet. So now, something that goes viral, it happens within the same planet. It is within Earth, right? So you can see on your social media platform as to how something goes viral within the same planet. But here, the most important thing that Maharaj Parikshit is going to, sit and listen to Harikatha, and he is going to fast until death. This spread not only within the planet of Earth, but there was interplanetary communications. That means it was even spread to other planets, right? And once the demigod heard this, all the demigods heard this, they became so happy that that Maharaj Parikshit is going to fast until death. So, when we tell interplanetary communications, the first person that we can remember is Narada Muni. So we know how Daksha cursed Narada Muni, and Narada Muni, cannot stay in a place for a longer time. So he keeps traveling from one planet to another planet, and he keeps preaching about the Lord. So that is how the communications used to take place. So, within a fraction of seconds, they came to know that Maharaj Parikshit was going to fast until death. So when we tell, fasting, so here we can see as to how Maharaj Parikshit is controlling his senses through fasting. So it does not mean that only if one does not take food, that means he's controlling senses. That is a part of it. So we can see how Maharaj Parikshit is observing fasting, right? It is just not that he's refraining from eating or he's refraining from taking water. But apart from that, what is he trying to do? He is controlling his senses. So controlling senses is not a very easy subject matter, right? So controlling senses, you cannot just keep your senses controlled by just not taking food and water. You have to engage your senses. So senses are always meant to be engaged. So how Maharaj Parikshit is engaging? Maharaj Parikshit is engaging his senses by hearing to Harikatha. So we can see how, I have come across so many of my friends when they do this Navaratri fasting, right? Usually that is a common fasting that's done by most of the people. So when my friends they do fasting, so they used to, always contemplate on what can be eaten. Okay, so I'm fasting from maybe grains. So Navaratri usually they fast from grains. So they make the sabudana khichdi, vada, and everything. So if the mind is constantly engaged in what I can eat and how I can satisfy my senses, then there is no point of fasting. Why is fasting done? Fasting is done to control the senses. So you're fasting on one end, and another end you're thinking what all I can try and make and eat to satisfy my senses, then indirectly the senses are again engaged in thinking about what a person can eat. But here, Maharaj Parikshit, he was so intelligent that he not only fasted, but he also tried to engage his senses in the right way. Right? What did he do? He decided to sit and hear Krishna Katha. So thereby the senses they are engaged in serving the Supreme Lord. So they will not, wander here and there. The senses will not get divert themselves and indulge in sense gratification. So there was one beautiful pastime of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So once what happened was the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they were fasting for Ekadashi. So when they were fasting for Ekadashi, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur sees that there is nobody engaging in the services of the temple. So he goes and sees what the disciples are doing. They're all sleeping. One is holding the stomach, and one is very fatigued. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he goes and he asks, "What happened? Why is nobody engaged in the services?" So the disciple replies back, telling that we are fasting on Ekadashi today, so we are very tired, so we are unable to do services. So that is when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur tells that if I will feed you khichdi on Ekadashi or rice and dal on Ekadashi, you go to book distribution. So we can see if how engaging the senses in the service of the Supreme Lord is more important. Yes, fasting is also very important, but what was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur emphasizing on? Why did he make a statement telling that you can go, I will feed you khichdi on Ekadashi in spite of being Ekadashi? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told he'll feed his disciple grains, but they have to make sure that they go and do book distribution. So fasting is a means. It is via fasting that we engage the senses in serving the Supreme Lord. So why is it advised to fast? So that you know the senses are not engaged. So when somebody feeds in grains, or when somebody is continuously throwing in food for the stomach, so stomach gets engaged in digesting. So as it has to digest, so when the food is broken down into glucose, what happens? The energy is released, and the person engages in some material activity. And when the energy is utilized, it is common for him to get fatigued when it is utilized in a material way. But if the same person uses it in a spiritual way, and when he is fasting, the senses are under control, and most of the energy is being utilized for the service of the Supreme Lord. So fasting, not only fasting, along with engaging the senses in the service of the Supreme Lord, is very important, is what we can learn from Parikshit Maharaj. So because Parikshit Maharaj is fasting and engaging the senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. So this is one of the point. So next, if we see here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is writing that the demigods, they are showering flower rain. They're showering flower rain on Parikshit Maharaj, and they're beating drums, showing that they're very happy that Maharaj Parikshit is fasting. So if somebody reads this, the purport of Srila Prabhupada, they may think this person, he's fasting, and secondly, this person is going to die in 7 days. So why are demigods so happy about it? How can somebody be so happy about another person is going to die? So how can somebody be happy about such a news? So when we see how demigods are also devotees of the Supreme Lord, they are also Vaishnavas. They are also engaged in the service which they are allotted to do by the Supreme Lord. And Srila Prabhupada tells that demigods become happy by seeing somebody go back home, back to Godhead. So here, what we can see is, usually we have seen in in our parampara how when a person's appearance and disappearance is celebrated in the same way. There is no difference between the appearance and disappearance of the person. So I was hearing to a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, and then in that Srila Prabhupada tells why there is no difference between appearance and disappearance of a particular living entity, is because especially that of acharyas, a pure devotee, why there is no difference between uh, appearance and disappearance of a pure devotee. It is because a pure devotee, if he is appearing here, he will carry out the orders of the Supreme Lord. If he is appearing in the material world, he'll carry out the orders of the Supreme Lord. And if he is disappearing in the material world, Srila Prabhupada tells that he is appearing in the supreme abode of the Lord. He is appearing in the spiritual planet. So, therefore, there is no difference in the appearance and disappearance of a pure devotee. So, in fact, we can see in ISKCON, the disappearance of the person is celebrated in a very grand manner than the appearance. Because when a pure devotee is appeared, we do not know that he is the servant of the Supreme Lord, and we do not know, what milestones that pure devotee is going to make, and what are the contribution he is going to make. But once a person has disappeared, we have seen that person in his entire lifetime, and what are the significant spiritual contributions he has made. So when such a person is leaving his body, there are many more ways to glorify him, because he has done such spiritual activities and given such wonderful spiritual contribution. So we can see in case of our Srila Prabhupada itself. So when Srila Prabhupada went to US, we never know what Srila Prabhupada had to offer to us. But when Srila Prabhupada was leaving his body, we everybody, the entire society for Krishna consciousness, they all knew what contribution Srila Prabhupada has made. Srila Prabhupada had given his life for the instruction of his spiritual master. So we had many more ways to glorify Srila Prabhupada at the time of his disappearance, because that was the tremendous contribution Srila Prabhupada had made. So it is the similar in case of Maharaj Parikshit. When Maharaj Parikshit is about to leave his body, there are many more reasons to glorify, because he was such a Raja Rishi that he could even control the entrance of Kali in his kingdom. So there were many more ways to glorify a pure devotee. And as I told, demigods, why are demigods so happy? Because a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord is going to return back home, back to Godhead. So that is how the demigods are celebrating, and that is why the demigods are celebrating the disappearance or the fasting of Parikshit Maharaj. And here if we see, Srila Prabhupada writes that there is an invisible chain of connection between invisible chain of complete cooperation between the Lord, the demigods, and the devotee of the Lord on the earth. So, usually, when we see, I mean, even as not only the general public, even as before coming into Krishna consciousness, we think that, just like Vishnu is there or Lord Narayana is there, Lord Narayana is also one among the God. But we also think Ganesha to be supreme. We think even Shiva to be supreme, even Kali to be supreme. So, but we only when we come to Krishna consciousness, we understand that even the demigods, what is the constitutional position of the demigods? So, even the demigods, they are also the servant of the Supreme Lord. In Bhakti Shastri, Sundar Prabhu was telling us as to how we think, oh, these demigods, they're just demigods, but I am a Vaishnava. So we tend to, after coming into Krishna consciousness, we usually tend to, look down at demigods. But Sundar Prabhu was telling, even the demigods, they are Param Vaishnavas, they are better Vaishnavas, they are more qualified Vaishnavas than us. So it becomes our duty to offer respects to the demigods. But Prabhu also told in what sense? In the sense that they are carrying out the order of the Supreme Lord in a more efficient and effective way than us, right? So they are also Vaishnavas, and we are supposed to offer respects to the demigods. So we can see demigods, they also help if they come to know particular living entity, a Jivatma, they're trying to, re-establish their lost relationship with the Supreme Lord. They also try and help. They also facilitate the Jivatma in such a way that the lost relationship can be re-established. So we can see that there are various examples even in Srimad Bhagavatam, how demigods help the devotees of the Supreme Lord in whenever they are in whenever the trouble is being caused to the devotees of the Supreme Lord. So we can see in case of Jada Bharata, right? So we know how Bharat Maharaj took three births, and in the last birth he became Jadabharata. So when he became Jadabharata, so these worshippers of Kali, what they did, they take Jadabharata and they want to make an offering, make a sacrifice to goddess Durga, right? So they before making a sacrifice, they give a very big feast to Jadabharata, and they give varieties of dishes are offered to Jadabharata, and Jadabharata eats it. And once it has been done, once the offering, once they feed Jadabharata, they take him for sacrifice. So when they take him to make a sacrifice to goddess Durga, what happens? The goddess Durga, she actually comes out of the idol. From the idol, she comes out and she takes her weapons and she starts to kill those people who are making an offering to Durga. So all these people who are making an offering to goddess Durga, they're all, hardcore devotees of Lord Durga. They are worshipping Durga. So, but when Durga comes to know, goddess Durga, she comes to know that they are, making a sacrifice of a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. She just cannot control the anger. She comes out of the idol and she kills those people who are making the sacrifice. So, what do we understand from this? Goddess Durga is also the servant of the Supreme Lord, and she couldn't take that Jadabharata was being made as a sacrifice, and that was not right. So she killed her own worshippers. So that is how the demigods, they are also helping the Jivatmas to return back to Godhead. And one last pastime of Sanatan Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami, he was given the work of, translating the books. He was given work by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he has to write the books, and because that he had to revive back the scriptures, because at that time it was lost, and this reviving back the places of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord was given to the six Goswamis by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, while Sanatana Goswami was carrying out the orders of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was reviving back the scriptures, and when he was sitting on one of the banks, and he was one of the kundas, and he was writing all the scriptures. He was reviving back the scriptures and writing them, and it so happened that there were a lot of mosquitoes in and around the place where Sanatana Goswami was carrying out his service. So, what he decides, Sanatana Goswami decides that he will leave that place and shift to another place. And Lord Shiva, he comes to know this news that Sanatana Goswami is going to leave that place and shift to another place. And Lord Shiva, he gets full of anxiety. So why is Lord Shiva getting so much of anxiety? It is because, you know, he's full of anxiety because he's going to leave, he's not going to get the association, he's going to lose the association of Sanatana Goswami. So as soon as Lord Shiva comes to know this, what Lord Shiva does, he goes and orders the demigod of mosquitoes who is taking care of all these mosquitoes, right? So he goes and orders this demigod, this person who's in charge of taking care of mosquitoes, that a devotee of the Supreme Lord by name Sanatana Goswami is carrying out the orders of the Supreme Lord. So you make sure that these mosquitoes don't disturb him in his service. So these mosquitoes, and after a while it was seen that the mosquitoes stopped coming, because Lord Shiva had ordered this particular person who is in charge of the mosquitoes to control his mosquitoes and not to disturb Sanatana Goswami in his service. So even now, actually this place is located near, when you go for Giriraj Parikrama, right? When you go for Govardhan Parikrama, this place is still there. And even now, there are no mosquitoes in that particular area where Sanatana Goswami was carrying out his services. So the entire point here, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing is that how demigods, they don't, usually when you come to Krishna consciousness, people tell that, oh, you've stopped worshipping demigods, now you'll have some trouble, they'll you will have material difficulty and all that. People try to tend and scare you. So but here we can see that how demigods are happy when somebody worships the Supreme Lord rather than when they worship the demigod. So that is, worshipping the Supreme Lord makes the demigods happy, and they're even more happy to see that a pure devotee is returning back home, back to Godhead. So these were some of the points from today's verse. I thank all of you for your patient hearing. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, पतित पावन गुरु महाराज की जय. So I seek for forgiveness in case I have spoken something that is not in line with parampara. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radha Sugopika Mataji, for your nice class. We got so many solid points. So I have a few points. Maybe after participating, sharing, I can share later. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, today's session was really very nice. And one point is that there are 2 points in this regarding the fasting also. Many of the new devotees have that confusion. Today you cleared that. And one more thing is that regarding demigods, yes, once we enter into KC, we will know their positions also. But you know, sometimes in the beginning stage, we start neglecting them. We think that Supreme Personality is only the head, and others are of just like that. We need to ignore. We don't go to temple when we have a lot of what misunderstandings within the families also. But here in this sloka, we can clearly understand. It is clear for everyone, telling that even they are supporting the devotees to re-establish the relationship with the Supreme Lord. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಾತಾಜಿ, ದಂಡವತ್ ಪ್ರಣಾಮ್. ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಏನು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇವತೆಗಳ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದೇನೋ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ನೀವು ಇವತ್ತನ್ನು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ನಾವು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಅಥವಾ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಬೇರೆ ದೇವತೆಗಳಿಗೇನು ಬೇಜಾರಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿನ್ನ ನಮಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಮಾತಾಜಿ. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Sugopika Mataji, thank you very much. You gave a lot of examples to substantiate what Prabhupada has written. Any devotee of the Lord on the surface of is always praised by them. By their Adi Devic powers, they help the devotees in all respect, and there is complete cooperation. Mataji, I have one doubt. When we kind of compare or remember the Govardhana Leela, it doesn't seem that there was cooperation from the Devata, Mr. Indra. So how do we understand that?
So yes, Prabhu, there are sometimes even demigods, they also get illusioned by the Supreme Lord. So they also think, like in case of Indra thought that he's the supreme. He was not understanding that Krishna has come in form of a small Gopa boy and he's performing the Leela. So he thinks that I am supreme. So even sometimes the demigods are also illusioned by the power of the Supreme Lord, and sometimes even when they get too puffed up, the Lord has to perform such activities to show that he is the supreme, to re-establish the fact that he is the supreme, and all these demigods are under his control. So that is what we can see. Indra did it. Indra did that entire Govardhan Leela. He showered Samvartaka and caused destruction and harm to Vrindavan Vasis. But after that, he later realized that, oh no, what am I doing? What I did was wrong. So the Supreme Lord wanted to, destroy his, the false ego that he has. So because of that, the Supreme Lord had to do it. So but you can again see Indra, there are seven, but I don't remember the past time, but I had also heard, Prabhu, from senior Vaishnavas, that there are several cases where Indra also helped the devotees. But why do they do it is because sometimes we can see Indra sends all his Urvashi and Menaka to disturb the rishis when they are doing this tapasya. So why do they do that? If there is cooperation, why do they do that? Is because to check if the devotees are, if a particular jivatma is actually serious in their bhakti or not. So they're just doing a quality check so that we can go back and do the same thing when we return back to the Supreme Abode. So this is my understanding, Prabhu. If you have anything else to add, I am always open for it.
Thank you so much. QC check, you said nicely. Thank you, Mataji. Satisfied answer.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay. So a few points I would like to share. So the how to understand this Adidaivic, as we know, Adhyatmik, Adidaivic, Adibhautik. So this Adidaivic actually created by the demigods by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The tsunamis, earthquakes, and the floods, all these natural calamities. We keep seeing that in so many places. These natural calamities will occur, and it sometimes devastates so much. Uh, Loss is there. When you keenly observe in all these incidents, no devotee is disturbed actually. There are some devotees we may not be knowing, but actually, when you get into the situation and thoroughly analyze, and the devotees are not disturbed because they are, Lord knows that they are His own devotees, and automatically He arranges through demigods that they will not be affected. That is a significant point here, Prabhupada enlightens. So, as Mataji also rightly mentioned, that there were interplanetary communications during those times. These days, we are sending one small rocket or something into the space, and it is giving some weather report, etc. And people are very proud of it. Oh, what a knowledge you have got! But it has been existing for the long back. So this is all empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So the demigods also, they are very happy seeing a devotee going back to Godhead. Maybe they were also very much inspired by our devotee devotion. These Bulokavasis, whoever go there, and they will be surprising. Eh? Just like a rich man is seeing a poor man being happy. Rich man has got a lot of money, but he is not happy. But a common man or a middle man, middle class man or a poor man, when he is very happy, rich man is somewhat, uh, concerned. He is slightly distant. Similarly, when demigods also see this Bulakavas is going to Goloka, it is a learning for them also. It is an inspiration for them also. As a token of thanksgiving, they always, shower the flowers in a pure devotee, and also they play the musical kettle drums. And this is what, they're responding to the devotees. So, Krishna devotee is such a wonderful person that he can inspire anybody in any planet. That is the beauty to being a devotee of the Lord. Okay, so some other points are there, and we can. Prabhupada also mentions that there is no atheist in the heavenly planets. That means they believe that Krishna is the supreme Lord. Only their concern is they also wanted to, take some power, name, fame, like Indra. There where they are slightly got, into the Mishrama Bhakti category. Okay, so let me see the third part. There is an invisible chain of complete cooperation between the Lord and the demigods and the devotee of the Lord on the earth. Yeah. So when Indra he wanted to, lord it over the material nature, then Krishna will come. If anybody wants to lord it over or want to control the crowd or whole world like Hiranyakashipu and Ravanasur, then Lord has to come and say, excuse me, you are not supposed to do like this. Then he will do some leela And the devotees seeing this Leela, they will be very much thrilled. Yeah, Lord surely will, descend to the material world. Yada yada hidharmasya glanir bharata abhyuttana madharmasya tadatmana. So yeah, like that, Lord performs wonderful pastimes. And those who are very serious, sincere, they will be inspired and they will follow the path of the previous acharyas. So thank you very much, Mataji, for your nice class. We hope to hear more and more even after you are getting married also.
Hmm.
Hare Krishna. Gandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Srila Prabhupada ki jai.